Hey Ron, it's Leslie, and I promise to bring you along the next time I put together a magazine type of newsletter. So I'm going to do that right now. It's going to be a little messy because we're just working together. I'm going to start by going to Pages, and I'm going to select a new template from the chooser. This is just my personal preference. I kind of like using this garden poster because I like the background on it, but I think I've used all of these at one point or another. So I'm just going to ask it to open it, scoot it back over here so you can see it. And the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of some of these pictures so I can start working on this background. The reason I do this, even though I'm pulling stuff out, is because it auto sizes a lot of stuff and it just looks really cool when I'm done. And you'll see how easy it is. I'm going to start by inserting a file, and I'm going to use this header, D23TM header. There we go. And I'm going to resize it here pretty simply till it fits. I'm going to put it where I want it. Darn it, my fingers aren't working too good today. Maybe kind of scoot it over to center it a little more. Okay, next I have 4 pieces I'm going to put on here. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my bottom pieces on here first so I know how much room I have to do with the big piece. So I'm going to take all of this nonsense out. And I have a little graph that TK wants here, so I'm going to choose it, TK graph. That's it. It's not as pretty as I might like it to be, but it's as good as I can get it. I'm going to throw a shape behind it, and I'm going to make that shape white by going here to fill, making it match the rest. And I'm just going to lay that underneath it with a little extra space. Send it back so that's in front. Frame this a little bit. There we go. And then right down here, I'm going to add a text box. I'm kind of different than the point that you're at because I'm kind of at the mercy of what some other people want on this one, and I just need to do what they want. It might not be what I would choose to do, if you get my drift. Let's see, to know, what should we say? Want to know how the summer TLIs are progressing? Click here for a report from TK O'Gary. Now, I'm going to make that box a little larger to get her name in. I'm going to pump this up a little bit to just size it. I might shoot this down a little more. You see it's got kind of a neat shadow effect on here as well, which is nice. Let's take out want to know and just say, how are, you're so much better than this, it's a little intimidating. Now, let's go up here and center it and bump up the size a little bit. Can we hold that? Can we hold that? Nope. There we go. We'll leave it right there. Actually, I don't think I like that. This is one of the problems with working with me, is I'm always changing my mind. No, italicize. There we go. So we've got our first piece on there. Now I'm going to put in our second piece. It's a little piece I made that I can use over and over if I want. It's a reminder. So I'm just going to focus this in a little bit, get the sizing right. And getting the sizing right is something that Pages does like nobody else. And of course, that's going to make a difference in how this fits. Just have to scooch it. Of course, you can always pay somebody to do this part of it. Some idiot like myself. who has no better sense than to sit around and do this. But you can see it's really not very hard to put together. How's it coming along? I'll shoot you back down to 10. There we go, that fits kind of nice. Scoot it. Okay, we've got our first two. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to take that black box off there and give it nothing. That looks a little better to me. And I'm going to add a shadow. So I'm going to open an inspector right here. All of this stuff is so easy once you get used to doing it. Shadow. How does that look? That looks good. Okay. I'm going to go over here and add a shadow on this one too, just because I like things to look similar. Got a little shadow. I think we've got a little shadow on that one, but we'll just make sure. Nope. Now we do. And I'm going to add in our last box, which is going to be a shape right here. I'm going to let it be white in the center so it matches everything else. I'm going to pull it up here, and I can just use, you know, these little buttons to, the little arrows to fit it exactly where I want it. That looks good to me. Now I have one more picture to throw in. I'm going to stick it right there, and this is my main part for this one, announcing incentives. There we go. I made this little picture because I kind of like it, and because I want it to look more like kind of a magazine, something visually appealing. You're pretty creative, so you may have some better ideas on what visually appealing looks like. But let's just start putting some text in here, and we'll be finished with this before you know it. I do artwork over in Photoshop, but there are plenty of places you can do it. It's probably another good argument for having somebody else work on it for you. I'm going to put this in Gill Sans because I like Gill Sans. I'm going to make this part big, and we'll say 2011 to 12 marketing incentives plan, and we'll give it a little bigger bump across there. Gosh, that seems big, but so be it. Now I'm going to add in another little text box just because it's easier on me. Right here. Whoops. Thought I was doing good there. And I'm going to mention the new marketing incentives plan has been announced by Tracy Thomason, DTM, Lieutenant Governor Marketing. The plan includes special incentives for, this is kind of cool if you've never done it before, you have an inspector that lets you put in all kinds of new cool stuff. Just going to make a list, and we're going to use a text bullet. I still don't understand why it's called a text bullet because it's actually an image, but we're going to use some little stars. 1, 2, building new clubs. Whoops. Membership building for clubs. Individual membership building awards. Sorry, I'm reading this to you. I'll try and quit. Blow your socks off. Charter a new club September 30th. Yes, it's happening in Albuquerque. The club receives a stylish gavel, learn more about the incentives by clicking here. You'll notice that what we're doing is a strategy to drive everybody back to the website. That was my error, sorry about that. Dang it. Sometimes the computer doesn't do what I want it to. Let's see, I just lost part of it, didn't I? See what happens if I bump it up in size. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Hopefully it looks good to you. Okay, we got a shadow on that. Have we got a black outline on this box? Yes, the dreaded black outline. Now we don't. And we're going to give it an inspector and add that shadow. Now everybody's got a shadow. Everybody's got everything I need. So what I'm doing is I'm driving people to the website, which has this same look. I'm announcing something new with something that looks kind of cool. At least it's visually appealing. And right here I'm going to send them back. I'm going to send them forward to a story that's on the website, and this information's on the website. So let me show you what we do now. Next, we're going to save it. We'll just call it Gmail 82 2011. Save. Then we are going to export it as a JPEG or a PDF. It'll call it the same thing. Now I'm going to take you to the second video and show you how we insert that information and send it. See you in just a minute.